Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down the confusing world of corporate finance. Today we're diving deep into Hypha Labs' SEC filing. Get ready because this report has more twists and turns than a roller coaster in a pretzel factory, and make sure you join our Discord community linked right below for even more unfiltered financial discussions. Alright, let's pull back the curtain on Hypha Labs Incorporated. Now, the very first thing that jumps out, and it is a big one, is that their auditor has basically said, whoa there, Hypha Labs might have some trouble staying in business. This is a pretty serious statement, and it tells us that the company is facing some significant financial challenges. Think of it like your doctor telling you need to make some lifestyle changes, or else. The company started its life back in 2010, originally as a testing lab for the cannabis and hemp industries. They were all about making sure products were safe and reliable. But then, in early 2024, they sold off that entire part of their business. Now, they've shifted gears completely and are focusing on something new. A home appliance called the Hypha Micropearl Accelerator. This thing is designed to help people grow their own nutritionally beneficial mushrooms right at home. It sounds pretty high-tech, using these special cartridges that go into the device and supposedly produce these nutrient-rich mushroom pearls in just 8 days. The idea is to get lab-quality mushroom ingredients into your home easily, and they say these pearls can be mixed into food and drinks without changing the taste. They're clearly hoping to tap into the booming functional mushroom market, which is projected to be worth over $65 billion by 2030. That is a lot of mushrooms people are interested in for their health. They mention mushrooms like reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps as leading the pack. The plan is to keep developing this accelerator machine over the next year, test it with experts, and then, if all goes well, find a manufacturer outside the US to produce it. They're aiming to get this new product to market by the end of 2026. But remember that going concern warning from the auditor. Let's dig into the financials to see why. We're looking at the company's financial performance for the years ending the 30th of September 2025 and 2024. And right off the bat, there are no revenues listed for either year. That is a critical detail. For 2025, their total operating expenses were about $3 million, a big jump from $1.8 million in 2024. This increase is mainly because of higher general and administrative costs and professional fees. General and administrative expenses jumped significantly from about $943,000 in 2024 to over $1.4 million in 2025. A big chunk of this increase is due to non-cash stock-based compensation, which is basically giving out company stock instead of cash as payment. And professional fees also saw a huge spike from around $883,000 in 2024 to over $1.5 million in 2025. A significant portion of this is also stock-based compensation. They're spending a lot on consultants and legal advice as they try to launch this new business. This all adds up to a pretty hefty operating loss. They lost about $3 million in 2025 compared to a loss of about $1.8 million in 2024. That is a 64% increase in their operating losses. Now, their other income and expense section tells a mixed story. In 2025, they had an expense of about $100,000. But looking back at 2024, they actually had an income of about $470,000. That huge difference comes from the gain they made on selling the assets of their old testing business in 2024. So, when you put it all together, Hypha Labs lost over $3.1 million in 2025 compared to about $1.37 million in 2024. And this is after accounting for the fact that their old business is considered discontinued operations. They did have some good news from their old business though. In 2024, before they sold it off, the discontinued operations actually made a profit of about $585,000. But that is all history now. Looking at their total assets, they've gone down from about $493,000 in 2024 to just over $409,000 in 2025. That makes sense since they sold off a big chunk of their business. But their liabilities have more than doubled from about $1.4 million in 2024 to over $2.5 million in 2025. This is a major red flag. And this is where we see the real squeeze. Their working capital, which is basically the money they have available for day-to-day operations, is a huge negative. They have a working capital deficit of almost $2.2 million in 2025, a big jump from a deficit of about $983,000 in 2024. This means they owe more than they have readily available to pay. When we look at cash flow, things get even more concerning. They used nearly $380,000 in cash just to operate in 2025, and this is for a business that isn't even generating revenue yet. In 2024, they used over $1.3 million. This means they're burning through cash just to keep the lights on. On the financing side, they did bring in some cash in 2025, about $360,000, mostly from taking out new loans. But in 2024, they actually used over $1.2 million in financing activities, meaning they were likely paying off debts or other obligations. And here is the kicker. As of the end of September 2025, they only had about $38,000 in cash. With expenses running at over $3 million a year, this means they are in a very precarious financial situation. They are very upfront about this. They openly state they do not have enough money to run the business for the next year. This is why that auditor's going concern warning is so important. They absolutely need to raise more money and fast to survive. Now, let's touch on their internal controls. Management, including the top officers, admits that their disclosure controls and procedures are not effective. Basically, they do not have a solid system in place to make sure all financial information is accurate and reported correctly. And what is even more concerning are the material weaknesses they've identified in their internal controls. First, they lack segregation of duties. That means mostly 1 or 2 people are handling all the financial reporting and accounting, increasing the risk of errors or fraud. Second, there is no formal review process. So, the work these officers do isn't being checked by anyone else. And third, they have no independent board members, so there is a lack of independent oversight. These are pretty significant control issues. Let's briefly look at their stock performance for the year. It has been trading on the OTCQB, which is generally a less regulated market. The stock price has been all over the place, fluctuating between as low as $0.006 and as high as $0.07 in the past couple of years. Right now, it is trading for just a few cents a share. They have a lot of stock options and warrants out there, which can dilute the value of existing shares if they all get exercised. As of the 30th of September 2025, there were over 15 million shares available for future issuance under their equity plans. This is a lot for a company that isn't generating revenue. And to give you an idea of the scale, as of the 15th of January 2026, they had over 155 million shares of common stock outstanding. So, what is the big picture here? Hypha Labs is in a tough spot. They've pivoted to a new product, the Hypha Micropearl Accelerator, which is entering a potentially lucrative but competitive market. However, they are burning through cash at a rapid pace, have virtually no revenue, and are carrying significant liabilities. The auditor's warning about their ability to continue as a going concern, coupled with serious weaknesses in their internal controls, paints a risky picture. While the innovative product idea is intriguing, the immediate financial reality is stark. They will need to secure significant funding very quickly to execute their plan and, frankly, to survive. Alright, that is our breakdown of Hypha Labs' latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Will this new mushroom gadget save them, or is this a company in real trouble? Drop your thoughts in the comments below if this analysis was valuable and helped you understand what is really going on. Hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And don't forget to check out our Discord community for more immediate discussions and exclusive content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.